Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns, and welcome to 333 Magic 9, where the tarot cards and stars come together to help you. 2021 is going to be quite a different year than last year, but there still are some critical days you need to know about because they can affect your love, your money, and your career. So let's take a closer look. Aquarius, the card for the first quarter, January, February, March, represents the Three of Wands, and this is a very positive energy. You can see him standing, looking over the horizon. He's surrounded by this beautiful golden light. There's rays of inspiration coming down towards him. And so he's looking into the future, and he can see in the future that there is good opportunity. There also can be some challenges, but that's pretty normal. And especially since we're leaving 2020, which was a very challenging year, and we're moving into 2021, and perhaps the most important aspect that is happening is you can see Jupiter and Saturn here are together, and this is their movement. So Saturn's the orange line, Jupiter's the green line, and they are going to be very slowly separating all throughout the month of January. Now this is a good thing because when they are together they have to sort of balance or blend their energy, and that can be a little difficult because Jupiter is very optimistic and Saturn is very pessimistic. Saturn represents the structure and I don't want to change, and Jupiter represents the future, I see what I want to be. So there's this struggle, and that struggle was really played out in 2020 because Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto were all together in the sign of Capricorn, which is the sign of government and structure, and Pluto is the planet that represents pandemics. So it was really very heavy duty. So now that is opening up and is happening in your first house. So that's going to allow you to be a little bit more expressive or easier to express your energy. As we get to the 13th of January, the first major challenge is a square between Saturn, the orange, and Mars, the red line here. And this is going to be from two fixed signs, so from Taurus to Aquarius. And Mars is the aggressive energy, and Saturn is the fearful energy, don't change anything energy. So you might wind up with some frustrations or delays, especially if you're dealing with any family issues or basic foundational emotional issues, how you feel about your own sense of security. And there might be something that comes along out in the world that sort of throws you off a little bit, so don't let that happen. Now the very next day, Uranus will be turning direct on January 14th. So this is Uranus again down in the fourth house of emotional foundation. So this brings new opportunities and new changes, and so go with the flow, go towards the new. Then we come to the week of the 17th. And here the challenge comes again, and this is a biggie because we're going to have Mars conjunct or in the same place as Uranus. That's a very, very willful energy, and they are all, both of them are going to be squared by Jupiter in the first house. So you have to be a little bit careful to control yourself, watch your P's and Q's and dot the I's and cross the T's and all that kind of stuff. Don't gamble. Don't push yourself on other people, and don't be too independent for your own good. Yes, there is a need for freedom, there is a need for expression, but just use a little common sense and it'll stop you from getting into trouble. On the 30th of January, Mercury, that's the deep blue line here, is going to be going retrograde. He will stay in retrograde motion until the 21st. Now that is happening right here, and that suggests that you have to be a little bit careful with your money, with travel plans, with the way you're speaking, anything you're writing. Whenever Mercury turns retrograde, It always suggests that you need a little bit of caution in communications, travel, and planning. As we jump into February, we again have a big square, and that will be Saturn squaring Uranus. Now again, Saturn and Uranus really aren't very friendly. Saturn represents the past, the status quo, and Uranus represents moving to the future. And they, again, are in fixed signs, so they really don't want to change too much. So what you're going to have to do is be as flexible as you possibly can and try to blend the past energy with what is going to come in the future. So you're going to, again, need to be flexible because the past can be fighting against the future. Your fears, which are represented by Saturn, can be fighting against your possibilities. And that's not a really good thing. So this is in the house of emotional foundation, so be a little bit careful with your emotions. On March 21st, Venus, and that's the powder blue line here, will move into the sign of Aries. Now that means love can be a little exciting, but challenging, because Aries is a very independent, fiery sign, and Venus tends to be more gentle and receptive. So Venus is not always in the best place in Aries, but it could be fun if you don't mind having a romance where there has to also be a lot of independence. So good luck with that, and let us move on. We go into the second quarter and we see the card for the second quarter is the Seven of Pentacles or coins, and you can see they're all up here. They've all represent what you have gained. Now this can be in money, it could be in wisdom, experience, whatever, but it's valuable to you. But something is happening here. Nothing. That's what's happening. Nothing. So this is a time to reflect on what you have before actually, moving it outward, or before you're going to spend your money. Know what you have, and then you can make better decisions. Now, that's going to be important because the very first aspect that we have in April is on the 9th, and we're going to have a square from Mars to Neptune. Now, Neptune is in the second house of resources and money, and Mars is going to square that. So that means that you're going to have to be a little bit careful about the way you're going to be spending things, because this is the house of pleasure and romance, so you might get carried away. So control yourself and stay to the truth, and make sure you don't do anything too crazy. Otherwise you get into trouble. We don't want you to get into trouble. Mercury and Venus, Mercury's the dark blue line, Venus the powder blue line, will catch up to Uranus and conjunct Uranus on the 23rd and 25th of April. Now this can be really good because Venus and Mercury moving together is really nice, and the Venus is going to be in Taurus. This is happening in Taurus, and Venus rules Taurus, so that's very good. And Venus with Mercury is good for communications. This is your basic emotional foundation, so this can be very good for home and family things. The only problem is Uranus. Uranus, you can never tell where the energy is going to go. So try to use this visionary and imaginative energy. A lot of creativity is around you. Try to use that in a productive and creative way, and then it's a good thing. You see, so it help you break through things. The final May thing that I would like to talk about is Jupiter entering Pisces. Now that's the green line right here going into the second house. Now that's really good. Jupiter likes being in Pisces. He was the old ruler of Pisces. This increases your sensitivity, your compassion, your spirituality. It can help you develop your talents because this is in the second house. You can make more money, but with Jupiter there, you can spend more money. You have to be a little bit careful because Jupiter likes to expand things. So if you're a worrisome type of person, it will expand your worries. So don't let that happen. Don't worry about money. Take care of it. And then finally, at the end of the month, Mercury and Saturn will both go retrograde. So Saturn is here, and Mercury is this blue, deep blue line. And when both of these planets go retrograde, Mercury always is going to deal with communications. And again, we're in the area of the home and family. And Saturn is in the first house of how you express yourself, how you put yourself out into the public. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful, because a retrograde time period really is a time period for review. So go back over what you have done, how you have changed your life, and what may still need to be done. This is a time of adjustment. So take that time and make it productive for your future. We now go into the third quarter, July, August, and September. And the card, as you can see up here, is the Two of Cups. The lovers! Woohoo! Now, this can be a really good omen for romance, for creativity, for cooperating with people, for getting things done, and really enjoying life. And we'll get to that in a minute, because Venus and Mars will be involved in that part of it. But the first thing that's going to happen in July is going to be a square to Uranus from Mars. Now remember, Mars, again, is that very dynamic energy. Uranus is chaotic energy. You don't know which way it's going to go. So we're, again, in the foundation part of your chart, home, family, emotional foundations. And Mars is up here in the 7th house of relationships or partnerships. So you have to be a little bit careful how you handle your partners, understanding what they need. So don't let things get out of control. Don't let people be too willful or too egotistical. And control your desire nature a little bit. So, or, you know, have a good time and act with it, but just don't be too pushy. Jupiter, that is the green line, and Saturn will both go retrograde. Now, that's happening here between the second and first houses, and that deals always, Jupiter and Saturn almost always deal with financial things, because Saturn is your foundation, and Jupiter is your desire for expansion and for growth. So you have to be a little bit careful in that area. Again, they are both retrograde, so you might have to readjust the way you make your money or the way you save your money, the way you plan for expansion, and any expansion that you take should be done on a good foundation, Saturn. Now, the next thing that's going to happen, and this is the Lover's card energy, you're going to have Venus, here's the powder blue Venus line, and Mars moving together in the sign of Leo. This is really nice because Leo is very romantic and very pleasure-seeking, and that is the way Venus and Mars are. So this is really good for creative expression and for partnership. So make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. You may come before the public in some way as well. Just understand that they're going to be in a little bit of a difficult energy with Uranus involved, so be careful not to be too stubborn or too willful. Maintain that flexibility, very important. Next, Venus and Mars are going to be moving up into Virgo. Now, Venus and Mars, neither one of them really gets excited about being in Virgo because they're involved in love and creativity, and Virgo tends to be critical. So if you are involved in a relationship, don't tell somebody, oh, you don't really look very good today. Say, wow, you really look nice. And that's the difference between love and war. So don't be critical. Don't be too pushy or disappointed in anything that you're dealing with partners in an intimate way or in a business way. Just watch the details. Then Uranus goes retrograde, so Uranus right down here on the 19th. So do maintain your flexibility, especially dealing with home and family issues. And since Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus rules banking and property and land and the stock market, keep an eye on your investments. Watch what's happening. And also watch your banking. So, because Taurus is a banking sign. As we move into September, something really unusual happens, and that is that Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and we have Neptune is around here someplace. Neptune and Sagittarius right there, and Pluto all going retrograde. Now again, this idea of review and see where you have gone and see where you want to go and see what adjustments you have to make. It's going to be very important because as we get into the end of September, on the 27th, Mercury is going to go, Mercury's right up here, Mercury is going to go retrograde. So remember, Mercury is the planet that deals with communications and travel and planning. So you're going to have to be a little extra careful because now you have 6 planets that are all going retrograde. So keep that in the back of your mind. Don't let it throw you, but just keep it in the back of your mind and it'll stop you from getting into trouble. How about that? That'd be good. Now we move into the 4th quarter, and you can see the card for the 4th quarter is the King of Swords. Now, he sits firmly on his throne. He is in control. He is illuminated, so he's very intellectual. And that might be one of his problems. Sometimes he doesn't have enough warmth. So make sure while you're keeping in control of everything and using the wisdom that has been gained all year, that you're not too cool or too cold. Make sure you're warm to the people that need warmth, especially in relationships or home and family type of issues. So October is a very good time to move ahead because Pluto, right here, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, right here, all start moving forward, or what we call turning direct. Now, this should help communications and business, and if you need to have made personal changes, this will also help that. It'll facilitate. Now, on the 18th of October, both Jupiter and Mercury, that is the day they go direct. So this is really an important time. You see, Jupiter's in the 1st house, Mercury's in the 9th house. So this should give you an opportunity to express yourself and your ambitions, because this is a house of ambition. This is how you express yourself here. So this could be really good. So you may be able to clear up any misunderstandings that have gone on in the past 2 or 3 weeks or a few months because of all that retrograde energy. Next we get to November, and particularly on 11/11. Now 11/11 is thought to be a magical number, and it's because it's a double master number, and it's associated with the 4 of Wands in the tarot deck, which is a very good card. But there is going to be, there's always a but, there is going to be a square between Mars, and Mars is up here in the career and social area, social status, and Saturn is in your 1st house. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful of how you express yourself, especially when it comes to career and status issues. Don't be too pushy, just simple as that. You may be able to break through some problems, but Saturn always likes to hesitate, and Saturn likes limitations. Mars does not. Mars is very ambitious and very pushy, so do be careful because we don't want power struggles and we don't want frustration. As we go into December, Neptune, right down here, and he's in the 2nd house of finances, he is going to go direct, And there is going to be a sextile to lovely Venus. Now that happens right in the beginning of the month. So take advantage of that, because that may bring some opportunities to either clear up a problem that you've been worried about, because Venus is in the 12th house, or some sort of financial issue. You might get some opportunity. So take advantage of that in the beginning of the month, because as we go in towards the middle, the 19th of the month in actuality, Venus will go retrograde, and she's going to go retrograde right on top of Pluto, about a few degrees. So Pluto is the planet of death and resurrection. He's Hades in Greek mythology, the god of the underworld. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's bad. It just means he usually represents something has to change. So something that you value, Venus, and could be in romance, could be in money, needs to change. You need to take a new look at it. And so at that point in time, the 19th is a really good time to be careful with your money, with credit cards, with knowing exactly what it is you really value in life. Because Venus definitely deals with values, and Pluto deals with the soul. So what is your soul value? This is not just money value, this is a deeper value. So know what that is, and that'll be really helpful to you. Finally, Jupiter goes into Pisces again, and remember, this is the first time in 12 years that he's going to be in Pisces. He is strengthened in Pisces. This is your house of money. Neptune is also there, and Neptune rules Pisces. So this can be very, very good, especially for creativity, spirituality, things of that nature, following your dream. But this is happening on the 30th, which is the day before New Year's Eve. And people are going to really want to party by this New Year's Eve, because we probably hadn't been able to on the New Year's Eve in 2020 because of all the restrictions. So be careful not to be overindulgent, because Jupiter likes to expand. Jupiter loves to party. So rather, what I would say to you is understand that this can enhance your talents. And think of it this way: Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces can bring many opportunities. So as you go into the new year after this, which would be 2022, may you have many blessings. Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns, and this is my story. If you are a spiritual seeker, it may help you on your journey. I believe your spiritual development is as important as your religion. If you look at Christianity, it focuses on the life of Jesus. But Jesus was never a Christian. He was Jewish. If this thought intrigues you, you'll enjoy my new book, Light from Water, Freeing Jesus. It's available on Amazon.com and through fine bookstores. And it may help you on your spiritual journey. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank you for listening. Please subscribe, because these videos are free, and press the little bell for notifications. And if you need a psychic reading for the new year, please go to my website, internetpsychicreadings.com. And I hope you have a fabulous 2021.